And it is the eternal dilemma to rent a house or an apartment or to take that plunge into home ownership and buy a house. The reality is this: there's really not a simple answer. What's right for your buddy may not be right for you. So here to help us sort out the issue, who else? Real estate expert John Adams. John, how you doing?
I'm great today.
Good. Glad to see you here today.
Thank you.
How can we know when it's best to rent or best to buy?
It's not a simple question, as you point out, and I need to make full disclosure. I am prejudiced toward home ownership. For many years, I've worked with a lot of folks who've done very well owning real estate, so I have to get that full disclosure out of the way. But the key is that for most Americans, the best investment they ever make is owning their own home. That doesn't mean it's right for everyone.
All right, so you're not calling yourself anti-renting, though, are you?
No. In fact, I think renting has a number of benefits, and for a lot of folks, it makes sense at a particular point in their lives. And some people prefer to rent all of their lives, and that's fine. Home ownership is not right for everyone, but let's talk about some advantages of renting. The first is you may have money left over at the end of the month if you rent, whereas if you're buying a house, it may cost you a lot more. So if you can save that money, help build up your savings, get yourself to a better financial position, you may be better off. Second, renting gives you flexibility that home ownership simply does not. So if you're in a job situation where you think you may be moving or your life may be changing, you may be getting married to somebody in another part of the country, renting makes more sense because when you buy a house, you're really tied down. And then there's another thing. A lot of folks, Buck, over the last few years have had their credit damaged.
Sure.
Renting, if you pay your rent on time, that actually can help build your credit and get you to a better state in terms of your credit, which allows you to have a lower cost borrowing experience. So I think that's valid. And then finally, the reality is, at least in Georgia and most states, if a repair needs to be done, your landlord is responsible for that, not you. And we're talking about major expenditures here. A new roof, a water heater, a new furnace, heating and air conditioning, these things can be quite expensive, and your landlord has to bear that burden.
All right, you make a compelling case for renting, but I guess maybe buying is a better option for somebody. There's got to be some advantages there as well, right?
Well, I say if you have to ask, you probably ought to keep renting.
Right.
But I think for most people, the compelling reason to buy a house is you're building equity. Every time you make a monthly rent payment, you're paying your landlord's mortgage, or you're boosting their equity. Whereas when you make your own loan payment, you're paying down the balance on that loan, you're adding to the equity in that house. So over a period of years, it acts almost as a forced savings account. Some people call it home ownership the wealth effect, where over a period of years, you tend to build wealth in that real estate. So that's a key. Also, the government has built into the system, Buck, some serious benefits for homeowners. And that's because over the years, our government has come to the conclusion that homeowners make good citizens. They put their kids in the schools, they pay their taxes, they add to the value of their home because they're proud to live there. So there's some real tax benefits. You can buy a house, live in it for a couple of years, sell it, and for most folks, the profits you make up to $500,000, tax-free. That's major.
Yeah.
Also, we talk about creative control. Do you like to put a lot of pictures on the walls or paint your house mango? You can do that with your own home. You cannot do that in a rental home. And then additionally, you have maintenance choices. A lot of folks like to go to the big box store, learn how to do things in their own home, and sort of become a handyman and take control of their own house. You can do that on your own home. Your landlord may not allow that. So I think, you know, it's a personal choice. The same answer is not right for everyone, but I think for most Americans, the best investment they ever make is owning their own home.
All right. Good advice as always. And if you have real estate questions, head to the Fox 5 Atlanta Facebook page. John's going to stick around for the next few hours to leave answers to the questions that you post.